All right then, divers, we've got a lot to catch up on as something big is about to happen, as is the case when CEO Shams Georgiani pops in on Discord, which he did quite a bit over the weekend. Helldivers is not done yet with the awards roundup with a ton of new nominations. The Terminid advance continues on. We've got another check-in with Iron Sights and a game file he uncovered, and a whole lot more. For sure, this is going to be a rapid-fire breakdown. If you want to support the channel, the best way is to hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell so you never miss one of my future upload alerts. All right, let's check in on all the latest with our favorite managed democracy spreading shooter, Helldivers. As of the time of this recording, the current major order has just under 3 days to complete, and we are currently holding the advantage, at least in attacks defended, with 3 out of the necessary 5 under our belts. But it looks like Joel is ramping this one up, as we now have a defense underway on Heath, and with nearly 30k divers there and putting in work, we are getting worked, as in we're losing ground, and quickly. Now this is down to it being a level 14 defense, so we need even more divers logged on and pushing back the bugs there, and if we can get that, we might be able to pull off this defense, but it's going to be right down to the line. The Illuminate are back and up to their old tricks, pulling off hit and runs, and their current target for the next 5-ish or so hours is Zaya Ragosia in the Ferris sector. And I don't know, am I the only one that wants the full-scale, throw everything, including the kitchen sink at us, Illuminate invasion to begin? We saw some of our highest player counts since launch when the Illuminate first made their appearance, and it's clear the player base likes taking them on with a full-blown major order. So, let's make it happen, Arrowhead. It's time. Your daily order is to pick up 200 kills with the Stalwart, which, with the current bug major order, should not be a problem because this thing is a bug chaff clearing machine. And once done, expect to pocket 15 medals. And we've also had a Superstore reset, and I believe these were the armor sets that appeared when the Polar Patriots Warbond first went live. On tap, you've got the medium White Wolf armor with extra padding, and the heavyweight Grenadier with engineering kit, and this is one of those combo sets, so it includes both the reduced recoil passive along with the +2 inventory for throwables. In terms of the beginning of 2025, it looks to be starting off much the same as it ended in 2024, with Arrowhead and Helldivers popping up all over the latest awards nominations. This time at the DICE Awards, held by the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences, held in Las Vegas on February 13th. And with the weather this time of year in Stockholm and Arrowhead HQ, I think we've got some footage of what it looks like as the dev team jockeys for who gets to attend this one. Helldivers is sitting with 6 nominations, including Outstanding Achievement in Original Music Composition, with Will Roget up for the nomination for not only Helldivers, but also with Star Wars Outlaws. And thank you, Will, for answering my email so quickly, and we're all pulling for you on this one. Further nominations include Audio Design, Action Game of the Year, Online Game of the Year, Game Design, and Game of the Year. And by the way, this lineup for this show is stacked, as Helldivers will be going up against the likes of Call of Duty, Marvel Rivals, Space Marine 2, Balatro, Astrobot, and Black Myth Wukong, to name just a few. Now, in terms of what's happening this week, well, it looks like we should expect something big, as the team at Arrowhead are making wholesale changes again to the back-end files, possibly to drop something tomorrow, because we know that they love to use Tuesdays to hit us with new updates. Further confirmation of this is when we see Shams Georgiani, the game's CEO, show up over in Discord, holding some sort of impromptu Q&A session, and in general, creating a bit of buzz with the server, which, by the way, is still sitting at well over 900,000 strong. Now, he's done this in the past, especially with some over-the-top comments just before the Game Awards, and we all know how that one went down with John Helldiver just showing up on stage, and then we got the Illuminate update. Georgiani was busy hinting at all sorts of items, as well as fielding replies and statements like this one from this member complimenting the team on their attention to detail, going so far as to mention the fact that if you dive repeatedly in water, it cleans your armor, to which Georgiani responded, "Arrowhead has always paid attention to details like that." And How many of you knew about that one? Because I certainly did not, but maybe that's because I've drowned way too many times and I know well enough to steer clear from anything to do with H2O. There was also questions about a sandbox mode coming to the game where players could test things out, perhaps even on Mars. And again, Giorgiani answered, it's pretty low priority compared to all the other juicy stuff we've got planned, but something smaller might be more feasible. A gun range? That's a good idea. I mean, how many of you are wanting something like this, which, by the way, sounds cool? A gun range, stratagem testing facility, or from what a lot of your comments have mentioned, a social hub. Drop me some feedback and let's get a discussion going on that one. Modding, which I featured in my last video, and that's the armor, by the way, you see on today's thumbnail, is something the PC community has been seeking, especially official modding tools, and Giorgiani is also interested in this, saying, I've been personally trying to get modding higher on the agenda. Even kill animations were asked and responded to as Giorgiani said, quote, it sounds a bit too gamey for us. I mean, we want people to do actual takedowns. People do it already, jetpacking on top of a bile titan and killing it. And again, I honestly don't know how this would work in Helldivers. I don't know. Maybe you sneak up on an automaton and do a grab and terminate movement? I don't know. I'd have to see it in action, but it sounds like it wouldn't be something that fits very well with Helldivers, you know? We view every target as the potential to just shoot our weapons, expend way too much ammo, and drop in massive orbital strikes. Loadouts were also asked and answered. Here's Giorgiani again, quote, I think this is something we should have, but don't know if or when though. And finally, here's one for the PC crowd. A question was asked about the anti-cheat and if it was still needed because it chews up CPU bandwidth on a large scale. Again, Giorgiani answered, good question, but I do think so. I'll bring it up next week. Yeah, I'd like to know on that anti-cheat question as well. What is it actually doing for us and who is it actually protecting? But there you go, the CEO's latest. We've got talks about a gun range on the ship, maybe a social space, modding, kill animations, and even the Protect anti-cheat were subjects. And again, when Giorgiani appears, it is usually the case that an update is quickly following, which is a great question for the viewers. What are we looking at this week? Are we talking more Illuminate? Maybe a full DLC? How about a Warbond or even a Warbond announcement? I really want to hear your take on it all, so drop me a comment. Turning now to armor, and the community really comes up with some awesome concepts in this area, like this post over on Reddit, now with over 3,300 upvotes, and their Phantoms of Liberty Warbond, including things like thermal vision, which I think is sick, what looks like a full P90 SMG, a communication scrambler booster, decoy grenades, and listen to these stratagem concepts. We've got a cloaking device, an APW-2 silenced rifle, and some sort of radio backpack, although I don't know what it does. And of course, I'll leave a link to this one down in the video description where you can find links to all of today's sources. But the armor debate is one that will go on for the rest of time with Helldivers 2. Best armor class, best damage mitigation, and of course, best or most popular passive, which, by the way, is something I am currently polling the community about with round 1 of my Great Armor Passive Showdown. Now, you can find this in the community tab over on my YouTube channel, or I made it easy for you. Just check for the link down below. And round 1 features Med Kit versus Engineering Kit versus Democracy Protects, and finally Fortified in a head-to-head matchup, with the top 2 vote getters moving on to round 2. It takes just a few seconds to cast your vote, so check it out, and let's see how many votes we can get. Next up, I simply could not miss the opportunity to show you this clip by Reddit user Wheezy Bread, and if you're not paying attention, put down whatever you're doing because you need to check out this clip. Now, Wheezy sticks a behemoth charger with a thermite, and what comes next can only be characterized as a 1 in a million event, as the charger then rushes the entrance to the extraction building and blows up somewhere inside. I mean, it's things that happen like this in this game where you really see just how wild it can all be. And finally, we've got another look behind the game files curtain coming to us from Iron Sights. And in case you were not into leaks, here's your chance to skip or tap out, and we appreciate you stopping in today. Okay, if you're still here, a quick countdown for you. 3, 2, 1, let's get it. And it looks like Iron Sights has located a Jar 5 Dominator with a beta mag spitting out thermite rounds. And from the footage here, the fire seems to have a slow damage over time effect, but overall, it doesn't look to be that powerful. Now, we've seen other elementals show up in the past, again from Iron Sights, such as the Jar 5 gas variant. So, maybe this shows up in the game, maybe it doesn't, but it's very interesting to look at it from a conceptual point of view and see what Arrowhead is kind of messing around with behind the scenes. Okay, I appreciate you tuning in today, and as always, make sure to leave a comment about anything Helldivers related, and I'll do my best to respond. If you liked the video, consider hitting subscribe and ringing the notifications bell. All my socials, including links to today's sources, can be found in the video description. And until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.